One thing I've learned over the past 4 years is that each of us can make a difference and that it's very important that we try.
Those words, spoken at Africade's first fundraising event, reflected what I had learned on my very first trip to Tanzania. While there, one Tanzanian in particular made a difference in my life when he said, "Ashley, please don't forget me when you go back home to America." Like a stone dropped in the water, those words created the ripple from which Africade was eventually born. And from Africade's beginnings at the Maasai Girls' School, the ripple has spread to numerous other schools in Tanzania, and even to projects in the southern African nation of Zambia, and in Tanzania's northern neighbor, Ethiopia. But the most important ripples are the ones created by these young girls as they use what they've learned to help improve their own lives and the lives of those around them. When Africade threw its first small stone in the water over 5 years ago with its funding of 10 scholarships at the Maasai Girls' School, I never would have dreamed that I would be there to see those Africade scholars graduate 4 years later. This school was the first of its kind to offer a secondary education to the girls of Tanzania's Maasai tribe, giving them an educational opportunity they wouldn't have otherwise received. Africade has continued to support the important work of the Maasai Girls' School, committing more than 170 additional scholarships for girls there since that very first group of 10.
Big box
in addition to sending much-needed school supplies.
Boxes full of pens, and they're from young girls in Colorado in the U.S. who care a lot about you, and you're going to school, and I'm just excited that you're here.
And outfitting a modern computer lab for the school. From there, the ripples spread to other schools. Soon, Africade was able to provide school supplies to Maji Yachai, a secondary school that serves over 1,000 students on the outskirts of the city of Arusha. Then, in 2003, Africade joined in on a fundraising climb of Tanzania's Mount Kilimanjaro. While there, a number of Africade's supporters and board members visited a remote Maasai village, Losanoni, that has overwhelming educational and medical needs. As a result of that visit, Africade established a relationship with the hard-working people of this village, which eventually led to an Africade classroom building trip there in 2004. In addition to the provision of school supplies and textbooks for its primary school.
And we hope that the school is able to use them for all of the primary students who attend here.
Just for the children.
And the creation of a microcredit arrangement with the village women, in which they make jewelry to help finance a school lunch program for their children. Africade joined another classroom building project in 2004 in the village of Usa River.
Don't wanna waste what I have to give, any of the time I've got left. I can do more than I thought I could. Bring some more.
And has since provided that school with supplies and textbooks. And plans to provide funding to support the creation of a new vocational school there.
Giving the kids a vocational training, and the vocational training here, because we don't have multinational companies which absorb the people who get like carpentry training, masonry training, electrician training, and everything. We give them a vocational training that will train them in different fields.
That won't be Africade's first vocational project. That actually came in 2005 with a donation of sewing machines to a center offering vocational training to young disadvantaged girls, orphans, and street children. Over the course of 2006, the ripples continued to spread. First, to the Ebenezer School, a new girls' secondary school where Africade has provided funding for the construction of classrooms and the purchase of much-needed textbooks, along with the shipment of school supplies that were presented to the school by members of Colorado's Rockland Community Church during a classroom building trip there.
These school supplies which we brought to you come from students at a university in the United States through the Africade organization.
And Africade has now even reached beyond Tanzania's borders, sending a large shipment of school supplies to a school sponsored by the Project Mercy organization in a rural farming community in Ethiopia. Most recently, Africade has helped provide scholarships to students in Lusaka, Zambia, and has provided support for a second project there that uses board games to develop critical thinking skills among students. But in many ways, the ripple came full circle in late 2005 when I returned with my college roommate Liz Panarelli to the Maasai Girls' School, this time to teach English, math, and geography to Pre-Form 1 girls. My time there only served to reaffirm the difference that an education makes in the lives of these young women. Seeing and teaching these wonderful young girls as they started their secondary school experience reminded me of what our original Africade scholars were like when I first met them, and the enormous difference that 4 years of education made in their lives. They went from shy and reserved young girls, like this, to young women capable of having an articulate and emotional discussion about what life would be like for them without an education. And if I needed any further proof of the ripple effect an education creates for these young women, it came on a visit I made to the village of one of the graduates.
It was just such an incredible opportunity to be invited by this student to her village. And as I traveled the several hours by bus and by truck and by foot to her very remote home, I had no idea that I was in for the full Maasai experience. While I was there, I saw young girls walking miles and miles to fetch water. I watched as they sipped tea inside of the boma, the mud hut that they live in. They didn't feel comfortable drinking the tea in front of the men. It's something that's not allowed. And so I think while I was there, I really got a glimpse of what life is like for these young girls before they go to school. But I think I spent most of my time there just watching in amazement as the student performed a series of cultural gymnastics, trying to explain one way of life to the other. And I think the most telling moment came at the end of my time there when one of the other women in the village came up to this student and she told her that after watching the way that she could explain one culture to another, she also wanted to have her daughter to have the chance to go to school.
Giving that mother the chance to send her child to school is what Africade is all about. That child, along with the others that Africade has helped to support, will create a new ripple that will make its own difference in her life and those of others. It is those differences, and the extraordinary ones made by the work of groups like the Africade Kids Team, the Colorado Academy Africade Club, and other Africade clubs across the country that continue to serve as an inspiration for me and for all of the supporters of Africade.
Seeing the joy in their faces when they get the school supplies and they get to go on and go to high school and go to some form of college even is so incredibly rewarding, because you have to start small to go big, and I feel like we make more of a difference than we even begin to understand.